This is Soapbox Radio.
Potting it out there.
Potting it out there with my lime boots. The Lifestyle Edit.
Hey guys, it's Ryan. It's not a Thursday afternoon, it's actually a Tuesday evening, and I'm sitting this afternoon with a very special guest. Welcome to Soapbox Radio, and today we are chatting to the comedy doctor himself. While sitting, we were going to sit on the stage, but we're now sitting in the chairs at the Autumn General Theatre on the Square. I trust you all had a great Easter long weekend, which we've just come through, and some much needed rest and time off with your friends and family. I also hope that you did not overindulge too much in the fare of the season. Back to today's show, let's consider the story of a man who studied medicine and now practices as a comedian.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go.
So today's guest was born in Cape Town and is an actor, comedian and medical doctor all rolled into one, and is more affectionately known as the Comedy Doctor. He is a silver medallion graduate of the College of Magic in Cape Town who started his career as a comedy magician in that fair city. He started doing stand-up comedy while studying medicine at the University of Cape Town, and his list of achievements is far too long for us to recite in its entirety today, but include being part of the largest stand-up comedy show in the history of South African television, Laugh Out Loud. Performing in 2003 at the Edinburgh Festival, headlining in the Cape Comedy Collective, the New South African Stands Up. And in 2006, my guest performed his first one-man show, Strictly Halal, at the Nelson Mandela Theatre to a sold-out run, adding 5 extra shows over one weekend to meet the public demand. His second theatre show for the Baraka hit the Fringe at the Joburg Theatre in July 2009 and again played to sold-out audiences. In March 2011, he was awarded the Comics Choice Award at the first annual South African Comics Choice Awards, receiving nominations again in 2012 and 2013. Not only one for the stage, he flexed both his comedy and drama muscles in 2012 in the movie Material, well known to South African audiences as the movie that made Barry Wronger cry. I would love to have seen that one. Yeah. The movie won the movie won 5 SAFTAs, including one for Best Actor, awarded to my guest this evening for his role as the conflicted Kasim. He also plays the role of Ahmed Kathrada in the epic Oscar-nominated and Golden Globe-awarded biopic, Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, which was released in November 2013. And his humor is based on the experience as a young Muslim relating to post-9/11 Islamophobia, growing up in Cape Town, and general observations and opinion-based humor. Skirting around relatively taboo topics with charm and ease, this comedy doctor will split your sides and keep you in stitches at the same time. Intro's done, let's jump into today's show. Welcome, Riaad Moosa.
Hey,
Good to
thanks for
have you.
having me.
Thank you. Have I summed Riaad Moosa up correctly?
I think so. I think that was quite comprehensive.
Really, I didn't leave out too much. Well, there was a lot that I left out that I had to leave it out. Otherwise, it would take a half an hour just to read
Aside
what you've
from
done.
the fact, as a young Muslim,
Yes.
just turned 40, which is the topic of this show.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that, Riaad, where does the love of comedy come from? Were you that child who was always cracking jokes at the back of the class?
Not really, and a lot of comedians, there are like 2 types of comedians. Usually they're the class clown or they're the quiet type who just sit in the background and observe things. I was more like that. And I think the comedy, the love of... I always used to do voices as a young man.
Okay.
I always used to do impersonations. And but I always wanted to be a doctor. Both my parents are doctors, so that was my aspiration to join in the family tradition. And I didn't even know of anything called stand-up comedy. It's just my grandfather was the one with a funny bone. A lot of my uncles are funny. My grandfather typically used to captivate audiences. So I think that's where I saw it. But it wasn't in the format of stand-up comedy. It was one of the classic joke tellers, one of your uncles who just, have a knack for, engaging people. And he never used to leave a conversation without joke.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I think it comes from that side of the family. Generally, my parents are serious. So people were very, very surprised. And most of my childhood, very quiet. So I only used to come alive during orals. So very quiet. And then when I do a
given
oral,
the stage and then the performance
then
takes
all
over.
of a sudden something comes out.
So we're going to see you boost into action a little bit later.
Yeah.
You've got tap shoes on underneath those shoes. There we're going to see.
It's quite exciting. I always love doing this.
Yeah. So how does that then translate into medicine? Was it pressure from your parents, or was it just
I wanted to
the
do
done
medicine.
thing? Okay.
I wanted to do medicine. It's just like I had, I actually started performing as a magician.
Yeah.
So that was when I was in standard 7.
Okay.
Interesting story. A friend of mine, Abu Bakr Bray, standard 7. I remember him. We were sitting outside the prefabs, and he brought this pamphlet of the College of Magic. And he said, "We need to do this. Check this out. It's so cool." And I wasn't that interested, but I investigated the thing.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to the College of Magic, and he didn't, because his parents said magic was haram.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
So, because, they associate magic with real magic.
Yeah. Okay.
So, today I'm a comedian, and he's in IT.
Oh, really? Okay. Complete role reversal.
Yeah, completely. And so I think that sort of jump-started. If I didn't do magic, I don't think I would have
got
done
into the comedy.
My magic then transitioned into comedy magic, because that's what I was actually drawn to.
But I read that you were a comedic magician.
Yes. So
didn't know
the
such
magic
a thing existed.
No. In the sense, like, there are different genres. You have the dramatic genre, and then you have a quirky comic genre. So a lot of comedy magicians out there. And just I liked that aspect. And I didn't know specifically what I liked, because like stand-up comedy wasn't a big thing. So it's just like I was more drawn to the fact that people were laughing, and that only became clearer. So it's a complete metamorphosis from the dramatic magic into completely comedic. So there was like, for example, there was this one show that I did. I remember we do competitions at the college, and I made a orb float across the stage.
Okay.
And obviously there are wires involved.
You're giving all your secrets away.
Yeah, I did. I am my standard 7 secrets. And I set the lighting perfectly.
Yeah.
So no one could see anything. So when we practiced it, I think we rehearsed it 3 times in total, which was apparently enough, according to my brain. And it looked perfect. And then I didn't know that evening there was going to be a guy doing flash photography.
Oh my word. So your wires popped up all over the place.
So it would be like, take a and then, everyone see the wire. And, so very quickly I also transitioned into the more comedic magic role. And I only got into, and even when I went to university, I was doing comedy magic. And then I started performing with comedians. And then I was exposed to this thing.
Was it a bit of an aha moment?
It was more like it was never conscious, but I just was drawn to it. And the minute it's so interesting. The minute I actually did my first stand-up comedy set, I got rid of the magic quicker than most comedians who transition. Because I realized I'd found my bliss. I found this thing that I just enjoyed so much, writing a joke and performing it for the first time. And then the bug bit.
Do you still incorporate magic into your shows?
No,
not you. You've left the magic behind completely.
I show my kids some magic now, but never do it in shows.
Okay. Talking of performances, you've performed with some big names in your career to date, which, as you say, you've just turned 40, so it's probably not even halfway through your career at this point. Which performances stand out for you, Riaad?
No, stand-up is, I always enjoy my one-man shows, because they're honest and, they're very personal. So I love doing this, but I hope to do it forever. There's nothing really that what stands out is my first sort of one-man show, Strictly Halal, because it was the first time I wasn't ensemble, first time I performed. It was sort of filmed at the Nelson Mandela Theatre, my first DVD, and I performed 2 shows on that day, and both shows were amazing. So at that point, once I'd completed both and I'd captured it for DVD, I felt like I had made it.
Yeah.
You know, that was a big moment for me.
Sure.
And unfortunately, the sound wasn't captured correctly.
Oh no. Okay.
So, but in that moment,
that
I
feeling,
thought I made it.
Yeah.
And I was never able to put that specific special out, which is very, it's one of the things I'm not too happy about.
Yeah.
And then since then, I haven't really, placed such major emphasis on, achievements. I just want to progress.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't get attached to a specific achievement.
Okay. Yeah.
You
just see it as the next step.
As long as I continue.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's as a result of the disappointment that occurred from that experience. But I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's more like, because I don't know if it's a matter of getting older and you understand, you see the similarities in everything, and you realize you never really get to the end of where you
never
need to
achieve
be.
a finality in anything. Huh?
So it's more it's like, it's interesting. It's focusing on the journey and being present and enjoying that, but at the same time growing
in your craft. When we come back, I want to chat to you a little bit more about your first show, Strictly Halal. I'll be back shortly with Riaad, the comedy man himself.
Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at MyLineBoots. You're tuned in to Soapbox Radio. Podding it out there with MyLineBoots.
I'm back this afternoon, this evening, this morning. It depends on when you listen to this. Fill in the blanks there. Chatting to the comedy doctor Riaad Moosa, live from the theatre on the square here, Nelson Mandela Square. Riaad, talk to me about your first one-man show. You mentioned it just now, Strictly Halal, which toured around the country, Durban, Cape Town, Joburg. You did a second run. I think it was this show that you did a second run in 2007. Yes. Added more shows in. What was the objective specifically behind that show? What were you looking to tap into in that show?
Now, at that point, it was just like when you perform on an ensemble platform, then you are just that Muslim guy or that guy from Cape Town or that Indian guy. Even if you are funny, a lot of times, you get you don't have your own identity, and because you have a short amount of time, people don't necessarily get to know you. When you do a stand-up, a one-man show, it gets to be more personal. And people get an idea of the performer. So I think it was just a natural progression. Mark Banks said I have to do it, so
you
I had to follow what Uncle Mark said. And each of my one-man shows have been, I've changed significantly in each of them. So that's what I like about it.
Okay.
So the first one is Strictly Halal, and then after that, I did For the Barakah, which was when I became a dad for the first time, and also around the time that Barack Obama was
coming into office.
He came into office, and then the next one was Doctor's Orders. Which is much more anecdote, a lot of more personal stories, anecdotes, talking about my experiences in Material and Long Walk to Freedom. And then Now Life Begins is about, it's sort of a psychological declaration to the world that I'm only getting started.
But turning 40 is quite a thing. I turned 40 about 2 years ago, and I remember as part of my blogging process, I started a folder which I never populated. I wanted to do 40 thoughts on turning 40. You get quite a reflective space. Do you find that's filtered through? Obviously, it's filtered through because that's what we're going to see this evening.
Without a doubt.
How do you, if you look at your first show, as we spoke about, Strictly Halal, and the second one,
what's the difference?
How do you see yourself evolving? What do you see that evolution as?
First of all, you have to become more introspective as you progress, because first of all, because you want something deeper as you get older, and you want to dissect things more, as well as to become more unique. You have to go within. When we started stand-up comedy, you could talk about many general topics, and that would be unique. But now there are so many comedians, and those topics are overdone. They're hackneyed.
Yeah.
So So a lot was cutting edge when we started. It's just being
not
done to
cutting it
death
anymore.
now.
Yeah.
So as you do stand-up comedy, I think, the more personal you become and the more honest you become, I think it becomes, the better it becomes.
It's relatable to people.
Yeah. So and you just sort of, your experience mirrors many people's experience. And, if you're honest and you find when people laugh, belly laughs, they tend to do that when what you say resonates with them.
So talk to me about your second show, Riaad Moosa for the Baraka.
Yes.
I thought reading that was you were referring to Barack Obama, but I realized it's not that. It means
was for the Baraka. It was a dual meaning. Yes. For the Barakas, for the blessings.
Yes.
It was the same time that I had, my first child, and at the same time that Barack Obama was. And thematically, I did use Barack Obama in that, and spoke a lot about, from a political perspective, it was all about Barack Obama. And from a personal perspective, is about being a dad.
And so the title of the show was for the Riaad Moosa for the Baraka.
Yeah.
So your conclusion from that show is having children a blessing in disguise?
Of course.
Is that the
conclusion
you
I love
came
my
to?
kids. My kids.
I can see from now.
Yeah. I have to go with the chaos.
Yes.
That's the challenge.
Yes.
I have to. My next show, I think, is going to be called Outnumbered, because
really?
we have 4 kids.
Okay.
And significantly, we were outnumbered at 3 already, but we significantly outnumbered now.
Are you quite a structured person? Do you like structure in your life?
I think I've had to, force structure, a lot more structure and ritual, and it actually helps a lot. I try to structure everything around the kids as much as possible, but it's challenging. So my challenge is now how do I be how do I continue and progress as a comedian, but at the same time, be like a dad. And that is challenging, because at this point in my career, I was planning to move to New York this year.
Okay. You're doing a Trevor Noah on us.
Well, I was going to do some help him with some projects, but it's just the lifestyle there. It's
not sure you want to put them through that.
It's not really the weather's bad. Everything is small.
Yeah, and at a hectic pace. We think Joburg's hectic.
The coffee's too big, and the accommodation is too small. Big cup of coffee in a small apartment is confusing. Like, why is that room got a lid on it? Definitely, the kids are a blessing, but that's actually also a theme of material too, which we're going to be doing at the end of this year, or after, maybe in July this year. The conflict between personal ambition and family duty.
Yes, no, I can imagine. Yeah, so experience it and then share your insights with us.
Yes,
okay. Riaad,
in a comedic way.
The comedic
way. But in material we'll get but also heartfelt. And,
sure. Do your kids come with you to every show? I see them here this evening.
No, well, they're with me this week.
Okay.
The 2.
Yeah.
Well, these 2 weeks they've been with me. And my wife is with the babies in Port Elizabeth at their mom's. Yeah. So I thought I'd bring them through. I think they're getting now a bit antsy now. No, they want to... Usually after 10 days, I think...
They've reached their limit.
Yeah. So now it's getting a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
They introduce me.
Do they? Yeah, okay, so we're going to see them again this evening. Okay, wonderful. Riaad, talk to me about performing on an international stage to international audiences at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
You need to perform more, like in my view. Again, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to perform overseas. It's about understanding audiences and understanding how they perceive you. Because in South Africa, people would understand a person like me, without explanation. Whereas I'm very confusing overseas.
Did you just get blank stares? Well, I hope you don't get blank stares.
No, just my accent. First of all, my accent is very, very confusing. And if I talk about my background, it's very confusing. So in order to make people laugh, you need to understand how they see you also. And the only way I get to do it is if I perform there.
Yeah.
So I need to do that somehow. That's the next stage. I'm going to figure out the way to perform.
And how do you overcome that obstacle? I mean, how do you bring them in? I mean, what do you literally do in the show to win them over to your side?
No, in the show, it's more preparation, more understanding.
And speaking into locals.
Yeah, so all I would do, you can make anything funny.
Yeah.
Anything funny.
Yeah.
It's more understanding how they see you. So you can give information that will contextualize your perspective. That's it.
Yeah.
For example, my accent, first of all, or a confusing thing you'll hear in the show. My accent is strange to people because I will do this accent, but then they will hear me do impersonations. And they would understand the impersonations more
than your accent,
than my actual accent.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's very weird to people, and people go, "Huh? What's going on here?" It's such a surreal experience.
Yeah.
So that's the way I.
Great.
It's the only way is to perform.
Yeah, I hear you. When we come back, I want to chat to you a little bit more about your movies. You're not just a man for the theatre, you're a man for the movies. I'll be back shortly with funny man Riaad Moosa.
Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at MyLineBoots. You're tuned in to Soapbox Radio. Podding it out there with MyLineBoots.
I'm chatting today to the comedy doctor Riaad Moosa, live from Theatre on the Square here in Sandton Square. Riaad, talk to me about your progression into movies, into doing movies. Was that a natural progression for you, or was it a secret desire that you'd always harbored?
I am not as free to do movies as I'd like to be because there's so many restrictions religiously and personally.
Okay.
So I can't do all these things, even in material. Just sort of I had a romantic interest, and that was strange. Even though there was no touching or kissing, we still have to, there has to be sort of chemistry on screen and things like that. So, and then I wouldn't be open to so many roles. Although I enjoy acting very much.
Yeah.
And so there are only specific things that I could do.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities after material. I took the Long Walk to Freedom one, which was as a result of material, because I couldn't pass that up.
Yeah.
But there are so many other things that came about afterwards, which I didn't sort of engage in just because I know that it's not aligned with who I am. We are doing a follow-up to material soon.
Okay.
The script is almost done, and we should be shooting it very, very shortly. But the timing has not been
great
set in stone yet.
Really? Okay.
But I mean, I really enjoy movies.
Talking of your Long Walk to Freedom, you played Ahmed Kathrada in that movie. How do you prepare for a role like that? Do you have scope to prepare and stamp Riaad Moosa on that character?
Yeah, actually, you should more so than I did. I tried to, as much as possible, spent a lot of time with Uncle Kathy. I spent a lot of time reading and researching the role, even more than I needed to.
Okay.
I was completely immersed in the character. And you actually, the strange thing is they wanted us to sound less South African.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so Riaad, I know you spend a lot of time with Mr. Kathrada, but your accent can't be so strong.
Okay.
You need to tone it down just a little bit. And I'm like, let me hear how you're going to do it. I'm like, hello, my name is Ahmed Kathrada. It's too much, mate. No one's going to understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Don't roll the R. Don't go, okay. Okay. Hello, my name is Ahmed Kathrada.
Have to undo
it's still too much. And then I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Hello, my name is Ahmed Kathy. Radar. This is my compatriot Nelson Rory Mandela.
Perfect.
LB. That's amazing. Just do it just like that.
Oh,
it's
really?
great.
Okay.
You sound just like him. And like,
in what
okay.
universe?
You're nutter.
Yeah. Sure.
So,
okay.
So that was weird, So actually sticking to the story was not, because it was supposed to resonate with international audiences. So I didn't. There were like things that removed it from the reality. A lot of it. They have dramatic license to do so, but some of the choices are debatable.
Yeah. Now tonight we're here to see you perform Life Begins.
All right.
Give us a little bit of an insight or glimpses as to what we're going to hear.
Yeah,
or see
so
from
Life Begins is about, it's a psychological declaration to the world that I'm only getting started.
Yeah.
That's why I call it Life Begins.
Yeah.
40 is just the beginning. And at the same time, so I talk about, just getting more introspective, talk about, thinking contemplating how did I, Riaad Moosa, become a comedian, and talk about my family. I talk about the state of the world. I don't understand how I thought I'd understand the world so much more now. I thought I'd be wiser at this point. I feel like I'm still crawling. So these are the themes that come through in the show. So the undertone of it is actually I need therapy in essence.
Okay.
So, instead of going to a therapist and paying the therapist to listen to me talk, I thought I'd talk on stage and get people to pay me.
You. I think that sounds like a business plan that works well.
Hashtag Indian jeans. And I think that was my approach.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really look forward to what we're going to see a little bit later.
Cool.
In wrapping up, Riaad, what has life taught you so far on this journey of these 40 years to date? What has life taught you?
I think I need to be more present.
Okay.
I think because everybody says this, because presence is this contentment can only exist in the moment because all we have is now. So trying to understand that, because I've always look to the future, and I'm always living in a space of what I need to achieve constantly. And it's I'm less able to live in the now, and that's one of the blessings of children, because they force that. They force it on you, and then you see how that actually, if you don't fight it, how it actually balances you.
It works.
which is wonderful. So a lot of it is, it's interesting how the progression in my shows, my show is becoming introspective, and I find that most likely the shows that are going to ensue is going to become more philosophical and spiritual.
Okay, I hear you.
It's almost like and that's also a natural progression of most human beings.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So as being as honest as possible is very important to me, and I think I just love doing stand-up.
It's your thing, eh?
Yeah.
You happy with the choice? Stand-up over medicine?
Well, I need to do some sort of medicine. I'm trying to do health promotion now, so I've got these funny health videos that I make, or entertaining. I try to put across difficult or complicated health information in a palatable way, in a creative way, in a sometimes entertaining or funny way.
Sure.
So that's what I'm trying to do as part of my general mission that I'd like to, things that I'd like to be involved in. In addition to the stand-up, which I think is my first love, and will inform even the health projects that I'm involved in.
Forward, yeah, great. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of today's show. Riaad Moosa, thank you for your time this evening, and I look forward to the show that you're going to experience shortly, and everything of the best going forward.
Thanks, my man.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
You've been listening to Soapbox Radio, podding it out there with my line boots.